What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Yanks of the Cup. We are here after the monstrosity of a performance put in by Liverpool today. Another defeat, 6 straight home losses at home. That is 1-0 defeat to Fulham. And no end in sight with this tailspin we're in right now. Luckily, today we have a great group of people together. As always, we have Stephen Wahomey and then our good friends Julian and Sophie. I think we can all agree we're all pretty miserable right now, but thanks for joining. How's everyone doing?
Yes.
I echo that.
Well, homie, I'm just gonna hand it off to you. I know you're pretty fiery right now, so why don't you just kick us off with your thoughts on everything that's going on around the club right now?
So I'm going to censor myself. Obviously, I'm not going to say everything, but what I will say is the fact that I thought as soon as I saw the lineup, I just didn't understand it. I didn't understand why we're playing some players, like sort of coming in cold. So I knew straight away that Fulham were going to target our right hand side with Williams, the big Williamses, especially they're coming in cold. They've rarely played, and plus I didn't think that they were ready for this game. To be honest, I didn't think the way Fulham were going to play against us. I didn't think it was a good idea starting either of them. I don't understand the point of Davies because he's not injured. Klopp said he travelled. Klopp said he was fit. He travelled with the squad. So there's something clearly not right there. The fact he's not playing, and I'm not buying this excuse that he's trying to filter him in like he did for Fabinho and all the other players. Like there's something that's not going on there with Davies, and it makes me think he's not a Klopp signing and he's going to get sold in the summer. But I think overall, I didn't understand the midfield. I didn't understand how we, for me, this whole game. And I saw it in the Chelsea game. I felt that when Milner came on, we threw in the top 4 in that Chelsea game. And when Salah came off, we threw in the top 4 in that game. And I think today this lineup just screamed to me that Klopp's focused on Leipzig. And all the players are focused on Leipzig and going far in the Champions League. And they're throwing in the top 4. Because there's no way you can put out that lineup today and say you're trying to go for the top 4. Because Milner against Fulham, I love Milner. I'm a massive fan of him. But what was he supposed to do against Fulham? Fulham were going to play low block and play a counter. What was he supposed to do? And also, it shows if I'm the Fulham manager, as soon as I saw that lineup, I'm jumping up for hooray, because it showed lack of respect. Fulham got quick forward line. Lookman's a quick forward. They've got quick forwards, and that was just really poor, And I think again, the lack of intensity in midfield, the lack of fight, the lack of hunger from our players. Like Fulham was so comfortable for them passing the ball around unchallenged, and I just think we got the right lineup completely wrong. And that people arguing me saying, "Oh, we need to do wholesale changes." No, we didn't. We needed a few odd changes here and there. Fair enough for you drop Bobby or drop Marnie. Obviously, Bobby was injured, but drop them. Fair enough and change them around. Then you just change the midfield up, but you still put a strong midfield out. You have Fabinho in there. You put Keita there, and then you have, I don't know, Jones or Thiago, one of them playing alongside, or Ginny, one of them playing alongside. Actually, I would have rested Ginny today because he looks knackered. But you have Jones or Thiago beside them. And you allow Fabinho to allow them to set free and move forward up the pitch. Shaq did nothing today. I didn't understand why we played Shaq. I said before the lineup, why Shaq's playing, it baffled me. And if you're going to play Shaq, you change the lineup. You change the formation of how we're playing him. So you could have either played Shaq as a number 10, behind Jota, which we didn't do, but you don't just play 4-3-3 again, or what we're doing every week. So for me, it just showed to me that again, Klopp's not willing to take risks. He doesn't trust certain players, and now we're looking at Europa League conference, not even Europa League conference, because there's 2 different levels of Europa League, and we're going to end up in the second tier of Europa League. And I'd rather not be in Europe if that's the case. So. I've censored everything what I'm saying, but I'm fuming inside, and I just think it's catastrophic what we're seeing.
Yep, no, I completely agree with you, but I want to hear what Julie and Sophie have to say. So, Julie, why don't you go ahead? What do you think?
So, yesterday before, the lineup was out and, we're going to play Williams and the both of them anyway, I thought that maybe it would have been the perfect opportunity to get back on track. Now we have Leipzig and to get things up and running in the league again. But after seeing this lineup, I never expected any 3 points or even 1, because Neco Williams would have not coped with Lookman. High line with Reece Williams and Nathaniel Phillips just doesn't make sense. They're too slow. To be fair, the midfield, I wasn't completely against it, because it's not the first time we've seen Gini, Kate, and Milner playing together, and they did quite well on the past occasions and everything, but everything was wrong, really. You can't play Neco as right back and expect him to do miracles, because it's not ideal.
Spot on,
And
man.
then,
What do you think? What do you think, Sophie?
I don't know where to begin with that. It was awful. I mean, the minute that lineup came out, I think everybody just kind of went, "Oh, why?" Like Wahomie said, a couple of changes need to be made, like a couple of tweaks here, there, and everywhere, like rest Gini, drop Bobby and Mane, but to completely put out basically a brand new 11.
yep.
It was disrespectful to Fulham, who have been on a good streak at the minute, and it just shows a complete lack of consideration for a team that is bottom table, but is fighting and is doing a really good job. And I think they're on a 7 win, 7 or 9 win game winner streak, and I just don't think that was respectful to anybody at all. And to put out, Reece Williams as a 19-year-old centre back over Ben Davies, who's meant to be coming up to the Premier League, is meant to be this really good player with great distribution and all these tactics and skills, and you're still not playing him. Nothing makes sense there. And then on top of that, to not only say Ben Davies is just, a whitewash, like you should forget about him. You play those two lads in centre back. Why wasn't Fabinho in midfield straight away? Why did you put 34-year-old James Milner in a game where that team is going to go in looking at Liverpool like we're a little bit of a toothless at the minute?
Yep.
It made no sense. Gini should have been dropped, and for me, that midfield today should have been Naby, Thiago, and Fab.
Yep.
That's what it should have been. Maybe sub Jones on about 70 minutes, but we needed a high press, high intensity midfield, and we weren't given that. We were given I'm going to say it, the Brexit midfield.
Mm-hmm.
We went right back. The Brexit midfield went right back to a 4-3-3. That doesn't work. It was awful. And as soon as that lineup came out, I just went, that's an absolute shit show waiting to happen.
Yep.
Those players have got they've not gelled. They've never played that squad. I don't think we've ever played that squad as that. And Shaqiri was, apart from feeding into Mo, did fuck all. He did absolutely fuck all that entire game. And not one of those lads on that pitch day, I'm sorry, not one of them looked like they wanted anything from that game.
Yep.
It was like they were just going through the motions. Let's wait for the 19 minutes to be up and let's go home and put our feet up. No, it's not good enough anymore. And it was pathetic.
Mm-hmm. I completely agree. I mean, before I say my sentiment, Jiggy has a good point here. My worry is if you can't get them motivated enough to get out of the slump, how are they going to be motivated or have confidence going for the Champions League? And I think there's a number of things. When I saw the lineup again, I was like, at least we're trying something different. Okay, maybe these guys are going to be hungry. These guys who haven't had an opportunity: Nico Williams, Reece Williams, Shaqiri. I love seeing Keita in the lineup. I actually thought he was one of the few bright spots today. He actually somebody who wanted to turn and go at their forward, their defensive line. But what drives me absolutely insane, and Sophie, you nailed it on the head, was just like you can just tell that they all feel bad for themselves. None of them even want to be there at this point. They know that their backs are against the wall in the Premier League, and none of them want to work hard for it. And everyone was giving slack to Gini Wijnaldum over the last couple of weeks when he was wearing the captain band. And saying that it should be Salah. Give me one reason why it should be Mo Salah, because he's our leading goal scorer, but he has a zero leadership capabilities from what I've seen, and that goal was 100% on him. There was barely any time left in the first half. All you got to do is just kick that ball out and we go in 0-0, and who knows what happens in the second half at that point. But again, he hangs his head. He's doing that. The entire team's doing that, and I'm just tired of it. And I sent out a tweet from our main account earlier, just saying everybody's to blame. FSG is the blame. They completely have blown every single transfer window. Klopp is the blame because he keeps doing the same things over and over again and expecting to get same results. The players are to blame because none of them are working hard, and I've been dying for one person to try to step up, and not one person has stepped up. And then the fitness staff as well, because all of these injuries keep adding up, and at some point, like, we are the only team that's in Leicester, really the only teams that are having an injury crisis as bad as this. So, like, they can't get a pass either. It's everybody across the board, and I'm just sick and tired of watching this team go out there and, like, I'm more stressed out watching Liverpool than I am at my job, and that's saying something. Okay, I'm pretty stressed out on my job all the time and everything there. But now the problem that we're going to have is we obviously need changes. But if we're not going to make Champions League with FSG's policy, how are we going to make changes? I just don't see. I don't know where it's going to come from. I don't know how we're going to get out of this rut. And okay, like, we want to focus on Champions League. That's great. Anybody in the Champions League in the round of 8, if we even do get by Leipzig this midweek, everyone's going to be licking their chops to play us because we're playing with no heart right now, and I never thought I'd see that out of a Liverpool team. It's incredibly fun.
It'll change the Champions League, though. The Champions League, you'll see it when playing against Leipzig, how we play there, with intensity and energy.
But that shouldn't be the case. It shouldn't
it's
be.
Not.
You go into the Champions League and you play amazing football and you show people what you're about. You should be doing that. Regardless of whether you're fighting for top 4, top 6, top 10, relegate, whatever you're fucking fighting for, you don't let that club down. You do not let that badge on your chest down. Because I'm sorry, but our club stands for a lot fucking more than just football. And I feel genuinely, I don't know, I imagine other people feel the same, but I feel like the club are just absolutely disrespecting all the fans at the minute. I feel like they're putting 2 fingers up and going, fuck you. We've given you all these trophies over the past 2 years. We deserve to have a blip. You deserve to have a blip. But this is just fucking catastrophic right now, and something's got to give. I feel like getting everyone together and just giving them a shake and being like, what the fuck are you doing? It's not good enough. And I've defended the club, and I've defended Klopp, and I've defended the players and said, look, injuries have made a big impact. This is not a normal season. I mean, me and Wahome got into a massive fight a couple of podcasts ago where I was like, you can't put the pandemic in a box. You can't just forget it's there. But it's gone past that now. It's gone past the pandemic. Everyone's facing the pandemic. Everyone's facing injuries. Yes, our injuries have been quite, high-ranking. But like you said, Steve, you've got to blame Klopp. You've got to blame the players. You've got to blame injuries. You've got to blame physios. Something's got to give. There's lack of leadership. There's lack of emotion. And no one gives a fuck about the liver bird on their chest right now. And I feel like half the players don't deserve to be wearing it.
Yep.
I'm fed up with them.
I completely agree. Now, I want to get you guys' opinion on this. Gianluca here. Enough is enough. Klopp out. No. What do you guys think about that?
He's a troll. I know who he is. I know who they are.
But let's just talk about the Klopp out anyway for a second. I'm sure you lads have seen a lot of people on Twitter calling for Klopp's head right now. My biggest question to them is, okay, let's get rid of Klopp. Who are you going to replace him with? Tell me. Give me one manager that you think can do what he does under the ownership that we've got of FSG, with the expectations and the fan base that we've got. Tell me who you want, who is available. Tell me. Give me a name. 30 seconds, give me a name. You can't. What do you want? Do you want Stevie? Do you want Stevie, who's just won his first Scottish Premier League title? But that's the Scottish Premier League. Stevie's a legend at Liverpool for being a player, not necessarily for being a manager. He's not ready to manage a team like Liverpool. Who do you want?
There's no one out there.
Exactly.
Like you said, the club had a massive turnaround with Klopp, right? And especially with FSG's transfer strategy, if you even want to call it that, no one else can get out of that what Klopp's been able to get out of that and his staff. So I don't think that's the right move at all. So I think Klopp has to stay. He is this club. Yeah. He's this club. But FSG, I don't know. I know all this isn't on them at all, but their transfer strategy does not work when you're a club this big as Liverpool. Okay, you cannot wait until the last day of the transfer window to just throw in a couple of center backs and then just hope for the best. It's just not good. And being out of Boston, I'm a Red Sox fan as well. They do the same thing with the Red Sox, and it drives me absolutely insane. But it just does not work for European football if you want to be a good club. Like, since we've won the Champions League, we have barely spent any money at all, and that's completely unacceptable.
When we think about the money that we made, and people will argue, oh, we've got the Anfield Road extension, we've got, the big deal with Nike, we've had all these new players, we've got to pay Thiago, we've got to pay for Jota, we've got to pay for this, we've got players on loan, and we've still got to pay parts of their salary. But look at the money we got from winning the Premier League, and the money we got from winning the Champions League, and the money we got from coming second in the Champions League, and the money we got from coming second in the Premier League the year before. So not all that money has been going on these expansions, and not all this money has been going on players' wages and social media and all that, and all those other. I understand the expenses of a big club are astronomical,
right?
But surely, if we could pay all those expenses prior to winning the Premier League and prior to winning the Champions League, we went from 2005 to 2020 before we won the 1920 before we won the Champions League. So we still had to pay those bills there. We still had the money available. So now we've got this extra funding. What the fuck are you doing with it? And if anyone says he's buying Linda a pair of new tits, I'm going to fucking kill someone. What are you doing with that money? Because my first thought, I'm not a business person. I don't understand what goes beyond financially in the club. But for me, when you've got your 3 centre-backs, you sold Lovren because you thought you were in a position where you could. Your next 3 centre-backs, the best centre-back in the world, arguably one of England's best centre-backs, and Joel Matip, who's a sturdy centre-back when he's fit, all go out injured for a season-ending injury. Now, I'm sorry, but what point did FSG think it was a good idea to leave it until the last day of the transfer window to go, oh, actually, hang on a minute, oops, they're all out with season-ending injuries. Virgil might be back in May, maybe. Gomez will not come back before the end of the season, and Matip will not come back for the end of the season. Now Hendo's out as well. So you're relying on Fabinho, who's been niggling with injuries because of how much you've had to play him in a role that he's not used to. It's not good enough. And then the players that you did bring in, you're not even playing them. You're playing an academy kid.
It's absolutely absurd. There's a couple of good points here in the chat about FSG. Like, you can't call them bad owners until they start taking money out of the club like the Glazers. I get that, but they're also not putting money in either. Just another thing to keep in mind. But then Matthew, you should respect FSG. They saved Liverpool from going into administration because we were broke. 100%. I will never take that away from them. They did save this club 100%. But that was over. Was that over a decade now? Like, that was 10 years ago. I get that. We appreciate that a lot. But if you want to keep growing as a club, you gotta make some changes somewhere along the way. You know what I mean? So that's one thing. But kind of going back, I want to kind of shift focus back to the game here. Fulham was just so comfortable that entire game and showed more hunger. After the game, I forget his first name, but Reed, was it Winston Reed or something like that? I forget what his name is. But he even said, we wanted it more than they did. And that is completely unexcusable at home as defending champions of the Premier League, playing a team that is going into relegation. Like, that is completely unacceptable. Julian,
yes.
What do you think about that? Like, what do you think about the opposing team, a team that's going to be relegated back to the championship, saying we wanted it more at Anfield?
It says a lot about what's going on, really. It's unacceptable. I don't know what to say, really. It's just embarrassing seeing those 11 wankers trying to play football when in reality they're doing fuck all, really.
Yep.
Everything was completely wrong. Mentality is gone. They're more interested in, hoofing the ball up the pitch to try and get something without playing any competent football. I just don't understand what's going on anymore.
Hey, everyone seemed to love that comment right there, Julian. 11 wankers. So
yeah,
props to you. We absolutely needed that. We did have a question for you in here, Julian, actually. What do you think about the Sporting Gijon player? Canas, his contract is expiring. He's very good. I don't know anything about him. So do you know anything about him?
Don't take any notice of them. They're just taking the piss. They're my friends.
I like that.
They're taking the piss. Yeah.
Take more piss in there. Totally fine with that. We appreciate you guys a lot. But homie, going back to you, man. Genie, 1 tackle. Milner, 2 tackles. Shaqiri, 0 tackles. Keita, 1 tackle. It seems, again, another game where we're talking about the midfield not delivering. How frustrating has this been?
It's totally frustrating, you know. Like, I think we're seeing again, like I've said it quite a few times now, like the fact that we are missing someone in midfield that tackles, that breaks up play, you know, like does, you know, the intelligent European tackle where they foul the opposition when they are breaking against you. Like, we don't have anyone who's doing that, you know. It's great keep possession, but you know, the problem is the fact that they're not tackling anyone. You know, it's so easy for the opposition to walk through us and attack us and get them on. There's no one that's actually tracking runners, you know, or doing any of that. So it makes it easy. It was easy for Fulham today, and it was easy for Chelsea, and it was easy for Everton the game before that. You know, so this is why I've said all along we need Fabinho back in midfield. You know, stop playing him a centre back, or you know, we need him in midfield regularly, and we need him regularly playing with like Ginny or Caters or the Thiagos. Not, you know, because if we want to win this game, it's the only way we're going to do it, and it's affecting us big time. And you know, but the thing is, I don't see Klopp changing it. I don't see him against Leipzig playing Fabinho in midfield. I think he'll go back to the same thing again, but Fabinho at centre back, and it's gonna hurt us. You know, we're not gonna. If he's trying to think we want to win the Champions League, we're not going to win the Champions League with Fabinho at centre back.
No.
Simple as that. You know, he has to be in midfield. And problem with the issue is it's the fact that we're not learning from it. You know, we're not. I'm not seeing anything from Klopp that says he's learning from his mistakes. You know, right now, and I think like even for him, he's going through the motions of just wanting the season over, because I'm not seeing like anything from him that is saying, "Look, I'm learning from this. I'm going to change it." You know, I think if Bobby wasn't injured, he would have played today, and that's another example of Klopp not learning from it. You know, and I think I don't know what it is, but there's something not right with that midfield. You know, midfield's great if you're playing an open team, but if you're playing a team that's going to sit back and low block, you need a protector like a 6, like a Fabinho there. Then you need 2 attacking midfielders who are going to get forward down the field. You know, and it's a concern. You know, and that's why I think you know, in the summer going forward, we need an attacking midfielder brought in, but without Champions League football, that's going to be difficult. And you know, we need to focus on that because you know, once again, if you're looking at it, even from a defensive point of view, our midfield offered nothing today in terms of creativity. You know, and it's a concern again going forward. The fact that we're not tackling anyone, we're not creating anything. So, what is the midfield actually function doing? Because you know, that also plays a massive part when you're trying to press. There's no pressing as well either. So, it's a massive concern, and something needs to be done to fix it.
I completely agree. I mean, it's. I think again the one bright spot was I thought Keita had moments today where he looked okay. I mean, what did you guys think of his performance? Ryan Gatt thinks that he's an amazing player. The injuries ruined him, but he will be back. I mean, there was moments today when I thought he did look okay, but when there's absolutely nothing going on around you, and I can't believe I'm somebody advocating for Keita because I always give him shit for his injuries, but I don't know. I thought other than him, he seemed like to be the only midfielder who wanted to do something going forwards today. Like, you know, what did you guys think on that?
I'm sick of Naby. I'm sick of him. Like, it's like, all right, I was talking to a friend about it before, just to go on to like the Mane thing. Like, Mane has been poor of recent, but he hasn't got the hate that he'd get if it was Salah who was going on that run of poor form. If it was Salah, he'd be crucified for it. And I think that applies with Naby as well. Like, Naby shows these small little light bulb moments of creativity and passion and flair, and everyone goes, "Oh yay, Naby will be back after his injuries." But let's not forget how long he's actually been out with injuries for. And to be fair, I didn't really rate Naby that much in this game.
Mm-hmm.
I thought he was very, very rash. I thought he wasn't taking care and consideration of where he was passing. He was just kind of like a deer in headlights, like just trying to get the ball in that box. He didn't really think about what he was doing. And as a result, the passes never came off and the decision in the final third. And I just don't think I've seen people praising him today, you know, for like these moments of genius and all that. And I think, well, it wasn't really. It was in a poor quality game. It was probably average at best. And I'm sick of Naby. I'm sick of this. when he's injury free and his injuries have dominated him and he'll be back from it. I'm sick of hearing the same shit on a different record every single time. Like, he wasn't like so much that Naby was our best midfielder in a terrible midfield.
Yeah, I know, right? It just doesn't say much.
That's like saying, do you want to drown, burn, or fall to your death? Like, they're all shit. It's just your preference. Like, Milner was shocking. Genie was absolutely he was flagging, and I said before the podcast to Wahomey, and his face kind of fell. Genie was shit as well. So out of a bad bunch of, of a bad bunch, he was the best of a bad bunch, but he wasn't great by any means. He was the best midfielder today.
Yeah.
But he's overall, no, he's not.
Yeah, no, I mean, I agree. They all were shit.
Support another club, you nerd. All right, lovely. I've been supporting this club since I was in the womb, but you carry on. All right,
yeah, and of course his name is unknown, of course, right? So,
of course,
hide behind a Navi. It's ridiculous. Absolutely, but no, it's. I mean, listen, like everyone's been poor. The entire team's been shit. You can't put it on one person. Yeah, you can't single out one person and said they've been shit. Everyone's been shit these last 2, 3, 4 months. It's been absolutely awful. People calling for Klopp. It'd probably be a lot worse if Klopp wasn't here. But listen, like, there's a dark cloud surrounding this team right now, both on the field and off the field. Like, obviously, Alisson stuff with his father, Klopp with his mother, not being able to go to Germany for the funerals, were all probably killed him. But yeah, it's just brutal. Like, everything that could go wrong with this club has gone wrong, and especially like when I watched Gini Wijnaldum today, he definitely looked just knackered, had no energy at all. But then he just did not even give an idea. Like, he didn't even want to play a forward pass today, which was really frustrating to me. He didn't even look for it. And that was the biggest problem with our midfield. Well, Homie's been saying it for months that we need a creative midfielder. And if we don't go out and get one next year, I don't know how it's going to change. I mean, we're clearly missing the leadership, the vocal leadership out in the field. It seemed like Alisson was the only person in the back barking orders. And it seemed like anytime we gave out something for a corner kick, he was sitting there clapping his hands, calling people out, doing that sort of a thing. But even Milner, I thought Milner, the only reason why he's out in the field is to provide energy and provide vocal leadership. I didn't see any vocal leadership.
Nothing.
That's what I'm saying, right? Absolutely nothing.
Yep.
Absolutely nothing. But very good point here, Mr. RB. The wage bill needs to be looked at, because a lot of these guys, why are we paying you if you're not going to boost the team when we need you to? And right now we need you to, and it's really pathetic right now that nobody is stepping up. Nobody's stepping up. Jay Gee thinks that we really need a Thiago today or Fab in the midfield. Without Hendo, we need someone like them, and I don't think Genie is it. Why don't they give him? This is why they don't give him the contract he wants, in my opinion. I mean, Julian, what do you think on that? Do you think having a guy like Thiago would have maybe made a little bit more of an impact in the game today?
If it's playing with Naby, 100%. Because we would have more options going forward. And instead of rubbish 2-yard passes and back passes, which slows down the tempo. And after today's loss, those people who said Thiago was the problem, I think they got the clear answer that it wasn't him.
Yeah, no way.
He's still getting used to the style of play. Lack of creativity. He wasn't brought in to score goals or assists. So obviously, most of the criticism that he's been receiving from rival fans is goal/assist merchants, as they called them on Twitter today. And we really needed someone like him who can break down the defense.
I completely agree. And then that's why I was shocked that Thiago and Trent didn't play, because I think Trent could have maybe made a little bit more of an impact today. Rahomey, you weren't thrilled 100%. With his performance. Rahomey wasn't thrilled with his performance when he came on the pitch. I mean, Rahomey, what are your thoughts on that? Do you think Thiago or Trent could have made a difference if they started, or do you think no matter what, we were kind of destined to fail?
I thought Trent was shocked when he came on. He was doing the same thing, crossing insular. Amount of times you just sick and tired of him doing that. The games when you think Trent's trying, when he's trying to take some players or get to the byline, but all he was doing was just crosses and put positions that we were never going to score from. So quite a few times he did a crossing that didn't even get in the box. So I thought he was poor when he came on, but I think at that time when he came on, it was just like hope for the best. You know, it was kind of like that. You know, the desperation point. I didn't understand Reece Williams or Nico Williams as tall starting. Said before. I didn't think. I said before, Nico's not going to offer anything going forward, and he didn't. So I didn't stand him starting. And I thought, yeah, if you're going to play Thiago, you need Fabinho in there with him. To be honest, like to release him, or Henderson release him. There's no point in saying let's play these players. We're not going to have them. Same with Keita. Keita's an attacking box-to-box player. That's what it was at Leipzig. He played in a 2 or attacking. So if you're going to play him, you need a Fabinho or Henderson next to him to make it work. You can't, you know. I know people might say, yeah, when we beat Leicester, we had Keita, Gini, and Milner, but that was a Liverpool a different team then. We were playing with much more confidence. We also had Matip and Fabinho at centre-back. So we're playing with a different team back then. So, you know, right now the whole team's low in confidence. So you need to put players in positions that are going to help us get out of that rut. So, yeah, maybe Thiago could have done something differently today because we're playing, how Fulham were playing. But that whole lineup was set up for us not to win tonight. So,
100%.
You know, so it was just a frustrating again performance. You know, and I think, you know, you can only hope that we'll learn from this. But you know, obviously, some of the statements that we're hearing, you know, of as you said before, the opposition wanting it more is a concern. You know, and we're playing certain players through the red. Like Gini, like I said, I didn't play Gini against Leipzig either. He looks knackered. So, but we'll see Gini again against Leipzig when he needs a rest. You know, and we're playing players past the red where they are completely getting burnt out. And of course, you're gonna get the performance you're gonna get today. You know, so I don't know what we're really expecting right now going forward. And there's a massive concern, and something needs to be done quickly. Otherwise, you know, if Leipzig were to come back next week, the season's over. Yeah. You know, and that's, you know, and as simple as that. You know, I think we'll beat Leipzig, but if we want to go past the quarterfinals, something needs to be changed. You know, because right now the way it's going, it just looks like a disaster. Disaster of the season.
Yeah, it's downhill now. It's just straight downhill. There's been a lot of good points in the chat here. Super Tiger, no mention of the finishing of the front players. The creativity is as bad as people think. Look at the chances created compared to other clubs, and you'll see that the chances have been created. Yeah, Homie and I have been saying this point for a long time now. It's the lack of finishing ability right now is something I'd never thought I would see with this Liverpool team in this front three. No. We need about 10 to 20 chances a game to even get one goal. And it's absolutely ridiculous that we're not being able to get more opportunities. H&W, Rodrigo de Paul, he'd be a great response this summer if you were to bring a guy like him in for the exact same reasons that you just said, and get goals and assists. When was the last time, other than Curtis Jones' goal recently, when was the last time a midfielder scored for us? I don't know. It's been a long time. Completely unacceptable. Mr. RB, great point right here. How many times in the first half did Williams get completely destroyed down that side? It did not make any sense to me to have that back line in there when you're playing a team like Fulham that's not super dangerous in the air. And you have Nico Williams, who's not very pacey, Reece Williams, who's not very pacey, Nat Phillips, who's not very pacey. Like, they just hit long balls over the top, still playing that stupid high line, giving them a ton of space. And how many of those fucking chances did they have in the first half, just hitting a long ball in, and then they had numbers like 3-on-3 breaks, stuff like that. Like, that can't happen against a team like Fulham. I don't understand why that keeps happening. Why we insist on playing a high line when it's literally just setting us up for failure every single game. Drives me absolutely insane. Go ahead, Sophie.
I just on the high line, like the high line worked when we had Virgil and Gomez in it.
Yep.
The high line worked brilliantly. It allowed our players a lot more freedom up the pitch. It was great. And I don't know how much longer we can watch this high line absolutely destroy us and rip our team apart in a match against a team that normally wouldn't be able to hold a candle to us. And he's still insistent on this high line when you've got defenders who aren't quick. You want them to be pushing, a third of the way up the pitch. And then on a break, you want them to be tracking back that far and stop a press, stop a counter. You want them to be doing that against the top six when we can't even do it against a team fighting relegation. It doesn't make sense, and I just want to know what is going on in that dressing room and in training where that makes sense, because to no fan does it make sense anymore. It doesn't. Like, I don't think you can find one person now that would say that high line is still a good idea, and trust in Klopp and trust the system. He's won us these trophies. It's at a point now where you kind of like, something's got to give. Mm-hmm. Something's got to give, and because if this carries on, I keep saying, oh, next season will be different, and next season will probably be very, very different when everyone's back and we see what we're capable of again. But right now, in this moment, it's not next season. It's this season, and yep. I'm watching the team that I love, that I've watched struggle before, that I've watched be ridiculed and humiliated on a pitch for years, finally come into form, to only have it snatched away again by laziness and incompetency, and that's what it comes down to. Mm-hmm. And I could deal with us going in a poor form if it was, we were basically on bankruptcy again. If we were selling players and we had a shit quality team, but we've got star players in that team, and we can't beat Fulham. It's just making an absolute mockery, and I don't know. I don't know why he's insistent on the same rule and style of play every time.
I mean, Super Tiger does make a good point. Like, I don't think the defense has been the main problem with what we're seeing right now. But with the high line, like, it is risky. I mean, but like he says, like, the refs have been delaying a lot of the offsides calls, so it has looked a lot worse than it probably has been. But that being said, it's still just like, again, look at the conceded goals. You're absolutely right. But H&W, I think this is the main point, right? When the ball gets to our forwards, there's absolutely nobody with them. That we're relying on individual brilliance far too often, but also too where the forwards are getting the ball. They are rarely getting the ball right on the box anymore. They're getting the ball 10, 15 yards away from the box, having to beat a couple guys just to get into a position to hit a shot. That's the main problem that I'm seeing, is that when the forwards do get the ball, they're not getting it in a position to be dangerous. So I just, it's just driving me insane. Lost ID official. Sorry if you really did lose your ID. That sucks. To play a particular formation, you need specific players, and these players cannot fit into Klopp's system at the moment due to the injuries. Yeah, again, I mean, let's be honest. If we had Virgil and Gomez and Henderson, we probably wouldn't be saying a lot of the things that we're having right now. But, well, homie, this point by HW, we talked about this on the pre-match show. Linders is the problem too. Compared to the football he played with Buvac to him, there's a huge difference. His football is so one-dimensional. Do you think that we're missing Buvac?
Buvac.
Yeah and no. I think yes for what he did for us, but then you've got to look at, we were okay for a long time without him. We were fine. But I don't know. I don't know what the answer would be. Like, are you better with him or are you better without him? When we've had moments of brilliance and moments of inadequacy with both.
I'm not sure about Buvac, because I mean, people probably going back to the attacking football we played under him, but we won title with Lingard, Pep Linders, so. I don't really know, because I can't really say what Buvac did actually do that we don't have now. So.
But then again, if you look at, Linders is the problem too. We played Buvac. It's a huge difference. His football's one-dimensional, but I didn't see people complaining about Linders last season.
But we had Coutinho back then. There was a difference.
No, I'm on about Linders. I'm on about Linders now. Like, nobody was complaining about him last season.
Exactly. Everyone was praising him last year.
We were winning the Champions League, and nobody was complaining about him when we won. We lost the league by 1 point, and nobody was complaining about him. Everyone was up his arse. The videos of him and Klopp, the memes that were made, I love this. Where they were watching the Barcelona game back. Everyone was his best mate, and everyone was up his arse. The minute things go to shit, you're just nitpicking people who you're going to pinpoint and say that he's the problem. He's not the problem. There are multiple problems going on right now, and if you just pick one little thing and say that's the issue, that's like putting a plaster on a broken bone.
Yeah,
I don't like this. Mr. RB said Buvac's a better tactician than Pep Linders. So Buvac left in the 17-18 season before we got to the Champions League final, didn't he? Wasn't that when he went?
Yeah.
He went before the second leg against Roma. I believe.
So I'm talking about that game. Was he that great of a tactician that season? I don't remember that being great tactically.
I think lost ID has the point here, because I think maybe attackingly we're a little bit better with Buvac, but defensively we were allowing a lot of goals at the beginning when Klopp took over. We were, when we were winning games, it was 4-3 games, 3-2 games, stuff like that. We have had a better shape and been more compact since he has left. So I mean, I think it can go hand in hand, but again, I think Buvac would be. I think if he were here, I don't think anything would be different right now. I really don't. I really don't.
Plus, I think a lot of people are basing that attack as well. We had Coutinho back then. Obviously Coutinho got the best out of Bobby, the style of play. So, it's different. Maybe if we had Coutinho probably now with this team now, we'll play much more better in terms of the style of football. Yeah, and obviously the style of one-touch football we play will probably be better. But it doesn't mean we're better. But obviously we're better. We became a better team when Coutinho left. But you're talking about
defender. We got Van Dijk, and it has improved us overall. Yes,
exactly.
You're talking about.
But can I just say, why are people? No, shut up. Why are people still asked about Coutinho, please?
I don't. I'm ready to.
I'm getting really pissed off with it now. Every fucking time we have a shit game, Coutinho's name is brought into it. Why are you still fucking bothered? The bastard faked injury and paid his own fees to leave us. I don't fucking want him back. And I don't care whether he was the God's gift to football and whether he could roundhouse kick a player in the face and score a goal and be okay with it. I don't care. Don't want him back. He doesn't deserve to be back. And whether you can't say we play better football with him now because we play brilliantly without him.
No,
losing him. Shut up. Losing him. Losing him gave us that. It gave us Van Dijk. It gave us Virgil. That's our leader. That's our next captain after Henzo goes. I'm sorry, he's the next in line before Trent takes over the captaincy in about 5 years' time. Coutinho leaving was the best thing that ever happened to the club. Because do you think that if we'd kept Coutinho, we'd have won the Premier League and we'd have won the Champions League? No. We'd have got to the Champions League final. Exactly. So anyone who sits there now and sits there cry-ass and going, I want Coutinho back, if we still had Coutinho, shut the fuck up about Coutinho.
See, I don't continue back. I don't want to continue back at all. But I'm just saying, in terms of what people are saying, maybe on the Buvac back then, the attacking football we played was better than it was right now. 100%. Overall, the team were better now, but the attacking play we played back then was better. So what I'm saying is with him is the fact that if you had a number 10 now, that would that could create attack goals and stuff, then we probably play better football right now in this predicament we're in right now, but we don't. That's
like picking one key little thing and going, that's the problem, let's put a plaster on it. Just putting somebody, an attacking player in that number 10 role doesn't mean that it would automatically fix all the issues we're having. We've talked at the start of this podcast about how our midfield was dead shaky today, and you can stop going. You're waiting.
It fixed in terms of the lack of creativity, lack of goals, because the front three this year the stats are showing the front three this year have been feeding off scraps in terms of the chances they get in is lower. Of course, their finishing has been shocking as well, but overall, they happen to be more clinical with a few chances they get. So that has a massive effect. Obviously, in the games where we struggle against low blocks, a more attacking player would have helped us from midfield. But overall, it's not the only issue. It's one of the issues that we have. There's many other issues in the team. Many issues in the team that would need to be resolved to move forward this club going forward.
Yeah. Well,
but I don't agree that Buvac is.
Yeah, one thing I wanted to bring up. Super Tiger here had 2 good points from a few minutes ago. Changing how you play completely shows you don't trust your system and it would erode all the work you've done for years. Nonsense being spoken on that part. And then he followed up a little bit later with this point. A temporary drop-off in performance combined with multiple injuries and clear free pass has led to the recent situation. Biggest problem is the lack of an adequate recruitment to cope with injuries. Julian, I see you shaking your head. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, yes, we've had many injuries, some few referee decisions going against us and all circumstances, but I don't want to hear anyone say that 6 losses in a row at Anfield is good enough for the players we're putting on the pitch. It cannot be. I know injuries will always have an impact on the squad, but I don't see any other team losing 6 in a row at home, apart from Sheffield. No other team done that in the league, and I don't see why people keep saying, "Oh, it's injuries, blah 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 blah." For me, it's played a massive part for our downfall, but I don't. With the players we have available, Salah, Mane, Firmino, and pretty much other players as well, I expect us to do way much better than the shithole we've been seeing for the past few months.
Yeah, I completely agree with that assessment. So if I saw you're about to speak, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, like, I'll hold my hands up and say I was that person that was like, no, it's injuries. And, like, I've said it on the podcast, and Wahomies absolutely hated me for it many a times, for just constantly going, it's injuries. But you're completely right. You can't blame injuries when you've got star quality. And I said it on the last podcast as well that was on. You can't have that quality of player on our bench. And I know our drop off from the starting lineup to the bench is poor because we have got a lot of injuries where players are missing in key areas. But if you're looking at like Salah, Mane, Jota, Firmino, you've got Alisson, you've got Thiago,
Trent, Robertson, Keita.
You've got all these star quality players, and you're sitting there for 1 second saying, "Oh, it's all because of injuries." No, the players we've got on that pitch are enough to batter Fulham. The players we've got on that pitch are enough to go toe-to-toe with fucking Chelsea and do a decent job at it. So you can't keep blaming injuries. What the biggest problem for me on the pitch itself is there's no fucking leader.
Yep.
There's no one there shouting. You could hear Klopp from his tackle box, absolutely screaming at the boys to do something, and they just fucking ignored him. Not one of them stood up and said, actually, you move there, you do that, you shut the fuck up. There was no... When Hendo's playing, you can hear him screaming at them. Even when he's in centre-back, you can hear him screaming at Mo to do something, to track back, to do his tactical duties, to cut inside. You can hear him shouting at Mane. You can hear him rail the lads for doing something wrong and praising them. He's a leader. When Virgil's there, you can hear him. Even when there's fans in the stadium, you can still hear them. It's like a fucking crypt on that field at the minute. Not one of those lads has got a firecracker up his arse to fucking say something to the others. Even Milner, fucking 34 years of age, second captain, stands in there doing nothing, saying nothing. It's not good enough. And 6 home defeats is pathetic. And when we pride ourselves on Anfield as a fortress, and you can't say, oh, it's because we've got no fans. Well, we've had no fans for a long time now, and we did better than this. We went 60-odd games undefeated. And, all right, undefeated league, record, don't make trophies. But 6 wins at your home stadium is pathetic, and it's not good enough. Not by any stretch.
Nope. So, I mean, yeah, we're entering now another week where I'm saying to myself, I hope we see somebody step up, somebody take the team by the neck and just say, fine, I'm going to do it myself, and I'll carry this team through. I hope I see it against Leipzig. I hope it would just be nice to get 2 more Champions League games under our belt now, being Leipzig and getting around to A and just seeing what happens.
If we manage to,
What's that?
If we go through it all.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. If we even go through it all, this is not over yet. Especially with
of course.
Form. This is not over yet at all. And JG, 100% right, my friend. Today was just an absolute punch in the gut. Absolute punch in the gut. Really, really depressed, really sad. I was on a fucking 3-hour goddamn flight watching this game on my little monitor, so I couldn't even yell or scream at the TV. I had an old couple next to me, and I couldn't say a goddamn word. So really stressed out right now.
Two depressing stats. against
don't. Do we really need to be depressed
Yes.
any more than we are?
yes, against after playing Brighton twice, Fulham twice, Burnley, Newcastle, of our 21
wrong.
points available, Liverpool have taken 3 points, and
Oh
then
my fucking god.
Liverpool have failed to score. Of the 115 shots taken at Anfield, we failed to score a single goal, and that's the worst run in Premiership history.
Just fucking shoot me. Just take me outside. Just shoot me between the eyes. Like, make it quick.
Those are depressing, you know. You know, we had the other day that Liverpool, I think it was
Yeah.
21 have the worst home form this season. We're 90 out of the top 4 divisions. We are 92nd, the worst in the league, worst of all the top 4 defeat teams in Europe, in England.
Yep.
So
1 point and 7 or 8, I think, right?
yeah, it's disgraceful. And I don't know how we can sit here and still, or anyone can still try and justify and use the injuries or any of that stuff as an excuse after this, because in all the games, as you said, we've had the players to win those games. We had the players, even the lineup today. I didn't like the lineup. That lineup should still be beating Fulham. You know, when we put it down, it should still be winning against Fulham. We're still putting out a better performance, and it's just not good enough. And I think, you know, all the people who are saying Klopp out are foolish and stupid. I'm 100% Klopp in. But what I will say is, when people are talking about it, I think FSG are at fault for us not winning the league title, 100%. You know, so I'd give them 60% of it, of saying that they're at fault for the league title. But us not getting top 4, that's 40% on Klopp. You know, because that team, the squad now with injuries should still be good enough to get top 4. So, you know, and I don't want to sugarcoat it and say, because obviously I see a lot of people are unwilling to criticize Klopp or blame him, but he got it wrong today. He got it wrong against Everton, got it wrong against Chelsea. So, you know, and you know, if there's any other manager, we would be criticized. We would be saying like something's not right here, something isn't right. But obviously, Klopp to clear in the bank, and he's the best manager for us going forward. And you know, we can't lose him. But at the same time, he has to take some blame. You know, for decision making,
100%.
tactics. He has to take some blame for us not getting top 4, because the squad he should be doing much more better than the squad he has for us to get top 4. You know, there's no excuse for us not getting it. And the fact we're not going to get it now, there's massive concerns. The whole club as a whole, FSG, Klopp, the fans, the players, all have to look at ourselves and say, what's going on here? Because, you know, it's been an absolute disaster of the season. You know, like probably I don't think anyone's actually had this kind of season after winning the league title ever. You know, when we can put COVID, the injuries, but overall, not to go from winning the league titles and not top 4, and probably might even end up 8th or 9th.
It'd be like Leicester when Leicester won.
Yeah, it's embarrassing, really embarrassing, and
it's like when
I'm just
Leicester won the league and they went how many years before they won the league? They won it in 2015 and they went buzzing, and then the next year they absolutely plummeted down the table. Do I think for 1 second that had COVID not been a factor and had our injuries not been a factor, we just plummeted down the table the way we have? No. So you do have to there is accountability for COVID and there is accountability for injuries. But like we've said, the boys that we've got are more than enough to fight for top 4. And I feel like we've just kind of gone, ooh, top 4's a little bit, it's going to be a bit of a fight to get it now. Let's just fuck it off and go right the way to the Champions League and focus on that instead. And they've just given up. The Chelsea game, they gave up. This game, they've given up. It's like, we had a strong chance. Against Chelsea would have took us into top 4. And then we could have just kept going. But
that's a mad stat.
If this is true, this is crazy. It's 2012 the champion spot after winning the league the previous season. That's mad. That's absolutely mad.
Yeah.
Yet City still can't win the Champions League.
Which is great.
Maybe this year, unfortunately.
Yeah, I mean they are looking like a wagon this year. If they don't win it this year, they're literally never going to win it.
Never, exactly.
What I will say, as we've always said, I said before, I still dare to dream of the Champions League. I still will not write at Liverpool in the Champions League. I'm not going to write myself for that in the Champions League. You know, and the facts in Istanbul, Hender's back at the beginning of April. I'm still not going to say the Champions League's over, because you just a bit of luck with a draw. You turn up in a 2-legged tie. Liverpool's still good in a 2-legged tie. We still know how to do that. So regardless of who we're playing against in Europe. So I'm not going to count us out for that 100%. But, and that could still save our season. We won the Champions League.
Let's hope so.
Because we saw it in 2005, it did. So, but, we have to, the players need to look at themselves, look in the mirror, because I don't want to hear now, Liverpool players saying anything now that we go again tomorrow, or the nonsense we keep seeing from Trent, Robbo, and all them lot keep posting on Twitter and Instagram. So I just want us to now, I want them to all of them reflect this weekend and say, look, we got to do better against Leipzig, and and go for it now, and take some risks, and if you are going to bring the intensity back for the Leipzig game and the Champions League, then bring it back. Even though that's not good enough, bring it back. So we can then actually end the season with some pride, because it's pain for all of us. We're all hurting, the Liverpool fans. The fact that no one, and the fact that I get it. You get football banter from the rivals, but we're all hurting here. And it's painful to see our club in this state. And my fear is next season, to be honest. Because if we don't win the Champions League, what is next season going to look like? How are we going to attract any big players in the summer? Even with Klopp's pull, I remember a while back when we tried to get Mkhitaryan from before he went Dortmund, and we had Klopp, and we couldn't sign him still. He told us no, to still turn us down. Mario Götze still said no to us, and we had Klopp. Yeah. So the Klopp pull is not enough just to say we're going to attract big players based on Klopp. So we're going to have to then lower our expectations and start doing what we did before in terms of actually getting like the mid-range players, and hoping that we can then create world-class players out of them rather than actually buying. The Van Dijks will be over. The Addison's kind of buys will be over for the time being. And that's what hurts the most.
Agreed. But I think on that note, I've gotten a lot of my frustrations out. I feel a lot better now. I appreciate you guys. I appreciate you guys joining us. Another tough day, but this pretty much wraps up this episode. I can't talk about Liverpool the rest of the day. I need some time off. I got to get back to work here, actually. But Sophie, Julian, thanks for joining us. Really appreciate you guys.
Thanks for having me.
You guys are awesome. We appreciate it. We're actually going to be back tomorrow. We're going to be doing a joint stream with our boys from the Copite for the our preview for RB Leipzig. So make sure you tune into that 10 p.m. GMT, 5 p.m. Eastern if you're in the States. But everyone in the chat, absolutely on fire. You guys are awesome. Super appreciate it. Hit that like and subscribe button if you guys haven't yet. It really just helps us, more Liverpool fans see this channel. But otherwise, like we said, we'll be back tomorrow. Please tune in. And otherwise, as hard as it is, up the Reds. We'll be back. We'll be better than ever. Take care, everybody.
Let's hope so.
Up the Reds.
Thank you. Have a nice evening, lads.
Have a good evening, everyone.